The 2020 Supra has some pretty big wheels to fill, if you will. If not, enter some other cheesy pun here. It's the revival of an icon. For me, the Supra has always been one of my favorite cars. As a kid, when the Fast and the Furious first came out, the Supra was the classic of my era. This fourth generation Toyota sports car happened to also fit my style. It was a humble driver's car which competed with some of the most capable, established sports cars of its time. Of course, those well-established players like the BMWs and the Mercedeses, they were status symbols and they came with a hefty price. The Supra, on the other hand, always seemed to be more casual and puristic. It was a high-performance car, but from a brand which was known for making fuel-efficient sedans. This is why I love it. It's simple. While the status symbols are truly elite driving machines, they brag about it. Whereas you could drive to the grocery store in your BMW and hear some remark, positive or negative, surely driving in your two-door Toyota sports car would have been a little more discreet. That's me. Someone who likes to be discreet, doesn't want to brag. But more importantly, I'm somebody who appreciates a good car for being a good car. And those status symbols breach the brim of humble, brilliant performance, which Toyota struck so well with that fourth generation Supra. Or perhaps the iconic nature of the Supra's history and the Fast and the Furious movies have all deluded me. Perhaps it's just a modestly cool sports car. But what I can say for certain is that the Supra has brought joy to millions of car enthusiasts like me. It has a classic layout with the engine up front sending power exclusively to the rear wheels, as it should be. That engine is 6 cylinders in line with each other in the front, running longitudinally down the chassis, allowing more of the mass to be in the center of the car, helping with the handling, the center of gravity. The inline 6 also leaves you a lot more room to slap on a couple turbos so you can produce tire smoke more readily. And with the reliability that Toyota obviously has in mind, you could trust just throwing precisely a whole lot of power into the car and trust that the mechanics would hold up well to all that excess horsepower. It was overly engineered and it was overly loved. So, can Toyota do it again? No. So they asked BMW to do it for them instead. Alright, so that was a bit of a joke. Toyota is going to do it again, or they're going to try to. I can't even say this. They're not going to try to. They have already done it. They are making a 2020 Supra, the Generation 5, 5th generation Supra, and I struggle to call it a Toyota. Now, I want to talk a little bit about the 2020 Z4, and particularly the inline 6 version, which has the same engine, the M40i trim level. It's like the higher performance trim level. You can get a 4-cylinder, or you can get this inline 6-cylinder, and that's the same engine that Toyota's using in the 2020 Supra. But the thing is, for one, it's not quite like the original Supra, which, you know, we should stick with the modern times and kind of. I'm not one of those people who thinks you should go and just do only what you did with the original, because then, you know, there's no technological progress. That kind of defeats the purpose of having a 5th generation if it's the same as the first one. But that being said, it's not a twin turbo, it's one single turbo with 2 scrolls, and I've heard that that's better for efficiency and maybe power density as a result of that, because it doesn't have to have 2 turbos. It can have one where it has 2 inlets to be able to take for, you know, more I don't know. I don't want to. Now I feel like I'm going to say the wrong thing and get corrected. I don't care. The point is, it can decide whether it wants to take in air at a certain rate or pressure or something in one of those inlets, and in the other it can do something else. So it has a function of 2 turbos without having to be 2 turbos. And now, since I'm seeming so unsure, I'm sure people are going to tell me in the comments. But that's all good. So moving forward, what I want to say about this is that was a little bit of a joke. You know, can Toyota do it again? No, they can't. Apparently not. Maybe they can, but they're just not willing to risk it. And, you know, playing it safe is something that corporations are going to always do, especially when they're publicly traded on the stock market. So I don't blame them. And beyond that, I also know that BMW makes a fantastic engine, and that's why Toyota went there. So you got to give them props for that. I'm sure if there are any purists in the Toyota Corporation, at least they're going to appreciate that they went for a good manufacturer or more specifically, a good engine from that manufacturer, because that engine, I've driven it. The twin squirrel turbos work very well and produces a lot of power. Now, one of my biggest gripes is going to be how much BMW shines through on this Toyota in air quotes, because it's mostly a BMW with some Toyota bodywork and some badges, but it's just worse than the BMW original that it's based on. The Z4 has a more classic design. It's a lot more expensive. I'm looking at the sheet down here, nearly $65,000 MSRP for the Z4 M40i, whereas the very basic Toyota starts at $50,920. So definitely a lot cheaper option to go for the Toyota, but there's a reason why the BMW is more expensive. From my experience for being in the car business, the BMW is more expensive because it's a luxury car for one. It probably is going to have a better sound inside, a better feel, just quality feel all around. And that's subjective. Whether you like that or not, it's hard to quantify that literally and factually. So it's more of a subjective thing if you're willing to pay for that or not. One of the things that is not subjective, though, that is an advantage to these luxury brands, especially the European ones, is that you have so many configurable options. You can build one with all these options and really make it your own. And because of that, they need to have more ability to produce different parts, and therefore it costs more, and that's why the car costs more. Producing a car with a higher amount of configurability and individual options costs more. And so the car, as a consequence of that, will cost more as well. So depends for you, is it worth it? You can get a dumbed down version called the Toyota Supra 2020, and I don't mean to be a hater, but that is essentially what they're doing. Now, if you're a purist, you might say, well, I'm getting a BMW drivetrain, and I'm getting a cool looking car. It sounds nice. It's definitely a car that I would love to have, so I can't knock you for that. Knock it till you try it. I don't know. I can't be hating on that. You know what I mean? It's looks like from the rear end, seeing it drive down the road, it looks beautiful, and I've seen them in person. It looks nice. A little bit busy with the design in the front end, and but I do admire the fact that they kind of kept the silhouette and the rear end of the new Supra kind of showing, the resemblance to the old one. So it comes down to this question: would you rather have the original car that it's based on, spend more money, give yourself the option to have more options, and to personalize it a little bit and have a real buttoned up performance roadster like the Z4 is, and a small car like that with a large engine is always fun? Or would you rather have a car that is attempting to be the revival of an icon, which may be nostalgic for you, a little bit more affordable? Yeah, I guess that's it. That's the benefit. It's an icon attempting to revive an icon. It's a little bit more affordable, and so it's up to you. Which one do you think is better? Let me know in the comments. Let me know if you like this style of video. I'm gonna do more of these because it's not as easy to find opportunities to review cars, although I'm definitely looking for those. So I will be doing more car reviews and stuff like that as well. Anybody who knows any opportunities for me to do that, please reach out to me. I'd really appreciate it. And thanks again for watching. I'll see you next time.